it's Jadie from Eat My Science, and welcome to our first FAQ Friday Facebook Live video. Today, we're going to be answering the question, I eat really healthy, but I still can't lose weight. What should I do? Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to approach this question in 3 different ways. First of all, you want to make sure that you're actually eating what you think you're eating. We all have an idea of what it means to be eating healthy, but that doesn't mean that we're actually eating what we think we are, so we want to track that. Secondly, once you know that what you're eating and that you're eating healthy, you want to tweak things to make it work for you because everybody's body is a little bit different. And third, we're going to talk about the magic bullet of getting the perfect diet for you, and that is visiting your doctor and seeing a nutritionist. So, I really appreciate you being here. I see someone just tuned in. This is my first live, so if you can't hear me or if something looks funny, please let me know because I have no idea what I'm doing. For those of you who are watching on the replay, really appreciate you tuning in, and if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment. I'll answer them as I see them. And for the replay, just fill up the comments with questions and I will answer them as soon as I can. So let's get right into it. So it might sound a little condescending to say, are you sure you're eating healthy? When you think you're eating healthy, you might not be, but it's not your fault. It's just that our brains are actually really bad at remembering what we eat. This has been something that researchers have had trouble with for years. Self-reporting what we eat is inaccurate a lot of the time, and it's just because our brains are not made to remember every single thing that we put in our mouth. So while you may think you're eating healthy, and you think back and say, well, I had eggs for breakfast and I had a salad for lunch, for some reason we completely forget that you grabbed a cookie on the way to talk to your colleague or grabbed a donut from the break room. So stuff like that happens all the time. So when you think you're eating healthy, the first thing that you really want to do is start tracking what you're eating. When I'm done with the live video, I'm going to put the link to my food journal in the comments. I couldn't figure out how to do that while I was live, so I will put that in there. And it's just a 1-sheet page that's really easy to print out and have handy. There's also a ton of apps on your phone that you can use to track what you eat. I use MyFitnessPal, no affiliation, but that's just what I use. I think they're owned by Under Armour now. And I use the paper also. I'm kind of a hybrid paper technology kind of gal, but it's handy to have around. Just recently I was at a conference and we didn't have self-service in the hotel. So I didn't have access to MyFitnessPal. We had this giant buffet lunch and there's no way I would have been able to keep track of what I was eating unless I had my food journal on paper just so I could jot it down and then look at it later. So I will put the link to that in the comments and use those apps. Just another example of this just happened to me a couple weeks ago. I was making a conscious effort to eat more fruits and vegetables and nuts and healthy things, but I wasn't feeling as well as I thought I should. So I thought I better track what I'm eating. So I started tracking on MyFitnessPal, and it became really clear really quickly that I was not eating any protein. Like, we often think about manipulating carbohydrates and fats when we want more energy or we want to lose weight, but we don't really think about protein very much. It never occurred to me that I just wasn't eating protein. So even though I thought I was eating healthier, I was missing a complete macronutrient, and I wouldn't have realized it unless I was tracking my food. So that's just how our brains work. It's difficult to remember. So if you feel like you're eating healthy and you're just not seeing results, start tracking and see what you're actually eating, because it might be clear what you need to do to eat even more healthy and get those results. So second of all, once you are tracking, or if you've been following a specific diet really closely and you know what you're eating and you know you're eating healthy and you're still not seeing results, then it may be that that particular diet is not right for you. everybody's body responds differently to different types of diets. So if you are tracking and you know what you're eating, you can start tweaking things until you start seeing results. So say you're eating a lot of whole grain breads and healthy carbohydrates, but you feel like your carbohydrate intake is a little too high, then maybe you want to bring that down a bit. Or if you're eating a lot of healthy fats even, or if you're putting butter in your coffee and you think, well, maybe I'd like to try bringing my fat content down, then you can start to tweak that. And when you are tracking your food, then you know what you changed and you know how it made you feel. So you can start to tweak things until you know what is optimal for your body. A good example of different bodies responding differently is bulletproof coffee. I don't know if everybody's heard of bulletproof coffee, but it's where you put butter and medium chain triglycerides, which are in coconut oil, or they sell supplements. You put it in your coffee and you drink this in the morning. It's a very high fat content, but they're supposed to have a lot of good properties from the medium chain triglycerides for your brain and stuff like this. So I asked my nutritionist what she thought of this recipe that's been out and everywhere. And she said she thought that a lot of people could benefit from the medium chain triglycerides and see some benefit from this bulletproof coffee, but she couldn't drink it herself because as soon as she would drink it, her cholesterol would spike through the roof. And then she gave me some literature saying that there's a genetic variation in how people metabolize fat. And I don't have the statistics right in front of me, but it's something like 25% of the population who metabolize fat a little differently. And as soon as they consume something like that, it just boosts their cholesterol, goes right into their bloodstream. And this is very dangerous. High cholesterol is proven years and years over to be a high risk factor for the #1 killer across the globe, which is heart disease. So it's can be very detrimental for some people to be drinking this bulletproof coffee, but they have no idea because there's no disclaimer when you find these recipes on the internet. So you may notice on my food journal, it's called the Bite Me Food Journal. And that's because I am a firm believer of when someone starts telling you, oh, this is a miracle diet, it helped me lose 15 pounds, or I put this patch on my skin and it'll change your life. And I'm a firm believer of resisting against the masses and saying, well, your diet can bite me, because everybody has their own optimal diet. And it might be okay to use a diet as a starting point, but you're going to want to tweak it and find what works best for you. So if you're not feeling the best, then you're going to want to just start tweaking things. And that brings me to my third point, which is to go see your doctor and your nutritionist. Now, I recommend your doctor first because they're going to be able to draw labs, they're going to take blood, and they are going to be able to see what's going on in your body right at that moment. It's a snapshot of how your body is working. They'll be able to look at your labs and tell immediately if you're short on some vitamins, if you have an overabundance of fats in your blood, or any of those types of things that you won't be able to tell just from the outside or how you feel. The doctor is going to be able to see and know exactly what you need to tweak to get your body functioning optimally. And then I suggest you take those results to your nutritionist. A lot of doctors' offices these days have a dietitian or a nutritionist right in the office. And if they don't have one that works with them in their office, they'll have some that they work with that they can refer you to. And I also know that a lot of insurance companies are starting to provide for nutrition visits. They're covering them 100% as a preventative measure. So if you're lucky enough to have that provision in your insurance, definitely take advantage of it. When you take your labs over to a dietitian or a nutritionist, they'll be able to see that snapshot in time of how your body's working. They'll be able to listen to your history, because we've all been eating our entire lives, so we have a lot of history there. And they'll also be able to look at what you've been eating recently and what your results are. And putting that all together with a second brain and one who's trained to understand the cause and effect of foods will be just, it'll have a measurable impact, because they'll be able to tailor a diet that is just for you. They're going to put a diet together that will be closest to what your optimal diet is. And then from there, if you're not seeing the results exactly like you want them, you just tweak them until you find your perfect diet. So I know a lot of people don't like to go to the doctor, but in this case, there's just so much going on inside our bodies that we can't see from the outside, but they can see. They have access to the labs and the knowledge that you need to create the perfect diet for you. So, and also the other thing that a nutritionist will do is they'll keep you accountable, because it's not just you thinking, oh, I want to eat better. It's somebody who said, here's what you need to do. Come back and see me in 2 months and we'll see how you feel. So they do keep you accountable. They keep you on track, and they will help you. They will help you find that optimal diet. So those are the 3 things. If you believe you are eating healthy and you're still having trouble seeing the results that you want to see, start tracking what you're eating, just to make sure that you're not eating something you shouldn't be, or that you don't think you're eating, or missing something that you really need to be eating. Once you're tracking, if it's not working, just start tweaking things and experimenting on yourself to find what works best for you. And lastly, go see your doctor and your nutritionist, and that is the fastest way to get the diet that's going to work best for your body. So again, I'm going to put the link to the food journal in the comments when I'm done here. If you have any questions at all, fill them in the comments. I appreciate you watching me today, and I appreciate you watching on the replay as well, because I know a lot of people said they were going to watch it, so I'm going to send it to you. If you have any questions, and if you also have frequently asked questions for me to talk about in the next few Fridays, then yes, it's a good idea to see a nutritionist. And I saw my nutritionist on here like last week, and so if she's watching, if you're watching, Cindy, I promise I'll come see you soon. Nutritionists are awesome. Thank you, Amanda, for the comment. So any questions that you have, put them in the comments. Download the food journal. Let me know how it goes for you. Have a great day. Thank you for tuning in. Again, this is Jadie from Eat My Science. Eat well, my friends. Your life depends on it.